People say opposites attract, but that doesn't explain why sometimes animals of different species get together in very strange relationships. We're counting down the top 10 oddest couples in the animal kingdom to find out why even mortal enemies would want to hang out together. Discover that some animals find a match made in heaven or in hell when bizarre partnerships are taken to the most extreme.
Earth is a planet of extremes. Extreme places and extreme animals. But some animals are more extreme than others. Join us as we count down to find the most unusual, the most extraordinary, the most extreme.
For some entertainers and some animals, life can be so much easier as a double act. In fact, some unlikely partnerships have become the biggest stars in Hollywood history. But as we count down the world's most famous animal odd couples, we'll discover that their relationships are no joke. Sometimes just surviving the relationship is half the battle. To find the first odd couple in the countdown, you need to venture into the waters of the Pacific. This is the home of a fish called the snapper. In the 1980s, two scientists discovered that it's formed a bizarre relationship with a small crustacean. Very little is known about this strange animal, and it's never been filmed because the action takes place in the snapper's mouth. This snapper has no tongue. Instead, it has a tongue biter. This is the only known example where a parasite actually replaces the body organ it destroys. So think yourself lucky that the tongue biter only lives in fish. Imagine what it would be like if a tongue biter decided to live inside your mouth. It would grab hold of your tongue with its strong back legs. Then it would suck so much blood that your tongue would totally disintegrate. Some researchers have suggested that the crustacean may act as a replacement for your tongue, helping you swallow food so that you'd stay alive while the tongue biter feeds. If you think that having something living inside your mouth sounds truly disgusting, take a close look at your tongue. It's already home to more than 300 species of bacteria. Fortunately, the majority actually help us by fighting infection. We may not realize it, but our body is full of surprising allies, especially in those hard-to-reach places. Take a trip down the digestive tract, and chances are you could bump into an intestinal parasite. A quarter of the world's population is infected by more than 20 species of worm that are quite at home inside the human body. They're protected from enemies, it's always warm, and their food is delivered right to their room. And while having too many parasites can cause health problems, one man thinks that forming a partnership with a worm may not be all bad. Dr. Joel Weinstock is a gastroenterologist at the University of Iowa who believes that since humans evolved with parasite partners, our bodies need them to stay healthy. Without parasites, our overly aggressive immune systems can attack our intestines, resulting in conditions like inflammatory bowel disease. His cure is to prescribe a glass of worms.
We give them about 2,000, 2,500 eggs in some juice to drink. The eggs are obtained from parasitic worms that are grown in the laboratory, and the worms produce the eggs, which are then purified and rendered safe and useful for use in people.
Once swallowed, the eggs develop into worms that stimulate the body's defense system. The theory is that while the patient's body is busy fighting off the parasites, it gets a rest from the irritating effects of an overactive immune system. So perhaps parasites are not always harmful. And while the tongue biter also helps the snapper to swallow its food, it's thought that once the parasitic crustacean dies, so does its host. It's a one-sided relationship, which is why this odd couple is only number 10 in the countdown. Coming up are associations where both partners benefit, even though their dangerous liaison may put their lives at risk. The bottom of a European pond is a strange place to find a fertility aid. But then, a freshwater mussel is the perfect reproductive accessory for a fish called the bitterling. That's because this male uses the shellfish as a partner to help lure a female. He dances around it, getting it used to his presence so that it doesn't automatically close up its shell when he gets too close. Then the fish dances to attract a female, but she's only got eyes for his muscle. She's careful to choose a shellfish that filters lots of water, because a well-ventilated mussel is important when you want to use it as a nursery. She uses that long tube to deposit her eggs inside the mussel. The male follows close behind and fertilizes them. The fish and shellfish are number 9 in the countdown because the bitterling uses the mussel as a high-security incubator. The shellfish maintains a steady flow of well-oxygenated water for the fish's eggs to develop in. After about 2 weeks inside their strange nursery, hundreds of baby bitterlings leave home. But the mussel wouldn't be the first surrogate mother to take on the kids of an entirely different species. There are stories of human children being raised by wolves, and the most famous comes from ancient Rome. The twin brothers Romulus and Remus had been condemned to die in the wilderness when their cries attracted a she-wolf. She didn't eat them, but nursed them. Romulus and Remus survived and went on to found the city of Rome. 50 years ago, this girl was also raised by wolves. During World War II, Misha di Fonseca lost her parents when only 7 years old. She wandered for years through the forests of war-torn Europe. Misha claims that she survived by becoming a two-legged wolf pup. So what was it like living with a family of supposedly ferocious killers?
As long as I was with them, I feel safe. And I love to be with animals. They are my family. The feeling to be in a family, That was so enjoyable, and also to feel again with a family that I don't have.
Misha says that she had lots of difficulty learning how to fit back into human society after her time with the wolves. But the relationship between the bitterling and the mussel is far less compassionate. They're only number 9 in the countdown because the clam doesn't really get involved in the relationship. The bitterling does most of the work and gains all the rewards. If you thought our first 2 couples were completely mismatched, then keep an eye out for our next contenders when they combine to fight a well-armed predator. And later, we'll see a strange partnership where the shoe's definitely on the other foot. That's coming